everyone, welcome back to Summary in 15 Minutes, your go-to channel for transforming big ideas from the best books into practical, bite-sized insights you can use right away. I'm super excited to be here with you today, standing in front of the camera, to dive into one of the most life-changing books out there, Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you've ever wanted to build better habits, break free from bad ones, or just make small changes that lead to massive results, this video is for you. So, grab a notebook, get comfy, and let's unlock the secrets to creating habits that stick. By the end of this, you'll have a clear, actionable playbook to start transforming your life, one tiny step at a time. Ready? Let's jump in. Picture this. What if you could improve every part of your life, your health, your work, your relationships, by just 1% every single day? It sounds small, right? But those tiny changes, when stacked over time, can lead to jaw-dropping results. That's the core idea of Atomic Habits. James Clear shows us how small, consistent actions, what he calls atomic habits, can compound into life-altering outcomes. This isn't about relying on bursts of motivation or sheer willpower. It's about building a system that makes good habits feel effortless and bad habits nearly impossible. Whether you're aiming to hit the gym regularly, eat healthier, or finally tackle that big project, this book gives you the tools to make it happen. Stick with me, and I'll walk you through the key strategies that can help you achieve your goals, no matter how big or small they are. Let's start with a real-world example that shows just how powerful small changes can be. Back in 2003, British cycling was in a rough spot. For nearly a century since 1908, British riders had only snagged one Olympic gold medal. They hadn't won the Tour de France in forever, and their performance was so lackluster that top bike manufacturers didn't even want to be associated with them. Ouch. But then, everything changed when Dave Brailsford was hired as the team's coach. Brailsford had a unique approach he called the aggregation of marginal gains. Instead of chasing big, flashy changes, he focused on improving every tiny detail by just 1%. He tweaked the bike seats for better comfort, had riders wear heated shorts to keep their muscles at the perfect temperature, and even rubbed alcohol on the tires for better grip. These changes sound minor, right? But by the 2008 Beijing Olympics, the British cycling team dominated, winning big. How did they go from underdogs to world champions? It was all about those small, consistent improvements stacking up over time. Now, let's break this down mathematically to really drive the point home. If you improve by just 1% every day for a year, you don't just get a little better. You end up 37 times better by the end of the year. 37 times! That's the magic of compounding, like interest in a bank account, but for your personal growth. Habits are like the compound interest of self-improvement. The catch? These changes don't show up overnight. If you eat one unhealthy meal today, the scale won't budge tomorrow. But keep making poor choices, and over time, you'll see the consequences. On the flip side, small positive habits, like drinking an extra glass of water or reading a page a day, might feel insignificant at first, but they add up to transformative results. The key is to focus on the direction you're moving in, not where you are right now. Your habits are what shape your future. So, why is it so hard to stick with good habits or ditch bad ones? A lot of it comes down to how our habits tie into our identity. Let's say two people are trying to quit smoking. The first person, when offered a cigarette, says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." Sounds okay, but notice how they still see themselves as a smoker who's just trying to change. Their identity hasn't shifted. Now, the second person says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." That's a game changer. They've redefined who they are. This is what James Clear calls identity-based habits. Instead of focusing on what you want to achieve, like quitting smoking, focus on who you want to become, a non-smoker. When you tie your habits to your identity, you're more motivated to stick with them because they become part of who you are. So, ask yourself, who do you want to be? A fit person? A lifelong learner? A creative? Start acting like that person, one small habit at a time, and you'll prove it to yourself. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually build better habits. James Clear lays out a simple 4-step process that drives every habit: cue, craving, response, and reward. Think of it like a loop. The cue is the trigger that sparks the behavior, like seeing a notification on your phone. The craving is the desire it creates, like wanting to check your messages. The response is the action you take, like picking up your phone. And the reward is the satisfaction you get, like seeing a new text. Every habit follows this loop, whether it's brushing your teeth or scrolling social media. To create good habits or break bad ones, you need to hack this loop. Let's go through Clear's 4 laws of behavior change, one for each step, and I'll show you how to make them work for you. First up, make it obvious. The cue is the starting point of any habit, so you need to make the cues for good habits crystal clear. A great way to do this is by getting specific about when and where you'll act. In a study from 2001, researchers in Great Britain worked with 248 people to build better exercise habits. One group was told to just track their workouts. Another group got motivational materials about the benefits of exercise. But the third group? They were asked to write down exactly when and where they'd exercise, like, on Monday at 7 a.m., I'll do 20 minutes of cardio at the gym. Guess what? That third group had a 91% success rate compared to just 35-38% for the others. Why? Because they made their intentions obvious with something called an implementation intention. I will behavior at time in place. Try this yourself. Want to read more? Say, I'll read 1 page every night at 9 p.m. in bed. Being specific turns vague goals into concrete plans. Here's another trick to make cues obvious. Design your environment to support your habits. Let's say you want to drink more water. Instead of relying on willpower, place water bottles all over your house, on your desk, by the couch, in the fridge. Make the cue unavoidable. On the flip side, hide the cues for bad habits. If you want to cut back on snacking, keep junk food out of sight, maybe in a high cabinet or not in the house at all. Your environment shapes your behavior more than you think. At Massachusetts General Hospital, a doctor named Anne Thorndike wanted to help people eat healthier without nagging them. She rearranged the cafeteria so water bottles were at every station, while soda was harder to grab. Over 3 months, soda sales dropped by 11.4% and water sales shot up by 25.8%. No one was forced to change, they just made the healthy choice the easy one. You can do the same by setting up your space to nudge you toward better habits. Next, make it attractive. To stick with a habit, it needs to feel appealing. One way to do this is through temptation bundling, where you pair something you need to do with something you want to do. Take Ronan Byrne, an engineering student in Ireland. He loved watching Netflix, but knew he needed to exercise. So, he hacked his stationary bike to only let Netflix play if he was pedaling at a certain speed. Genius, right? Suddenly, exercising became fun because it was tied to something he enjoyed. You can try this too. Love listening to podcasts? Only let yourself listen while you're at the gym. Enjoy a fancy coffee? Treat yourself to one after finishing a work task. By linking your habits to something you love, you make them irresistible. Your social circle also plays a huge role in making habits attractive. We naturally mimic the people around us, our family, friends, coworkers. A study found that if one of your close friends becomes obese, your chances of gaining weight increase by 57%. The reverse is true too. Surround yourself with people who have the habits you want, and you're more likely to adopt them. Want to get fit? Join a running club or hang out with friends who prioritize health. Want to be more productive? Find a group of driven, focused people. Your environment, including the people in it, shapes your behavior. So choose your crew wisely and lean into communities that support your goals. Third, make it easy. The easier a habit is to do, the more likely you'll stick with it. Our brains are wired to conserve energy, so we naturally gravitate toward the path of least effort. That's why the 2-minute rule is so powerful. When starting a new habit, make it take less than 2 minutes. Want to read more? Start with reading 1 page. Want to exercise? Just put on your workout shoes. Want to meditate? Sit quietly for 1 minute. The goal isn't to do a lot, it's to start. Those first 2 minutes become a gateway to bigger routines. Once you're in motion, it's easier to keep going. Over time, you can scale up, but starting small reduces friction and builds momentum. You can also make habits easy by removing obstacles. If you want to eat healthier, prep your meals in advance so you're not tempted by fast food when you're hungry. If you want to work out in the morning, lay out your gym clothes the night before. On the flip side, increase friction for bad habits. Want to spend less time on your phone? Log out of social media apps or move them to a folder that's hard to find. In 1830, French writer Victor Hugo faced a tight deadline for his book, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He kept procrastinating, so he had his assistant lock away all his clothes, leaving him no choice but to stay home and write. Extreme? Maybe. Effective? Absolutely. Hugo finished the book 2 weeks early. You don't need to go that far, but the lesson is clear. Make good habits easy to do and bad habits hard to access. Finally, make it satisfying. We're more likely to repeat behaviors that feel rewarding. The catch? Our brains crave instant gratification, but good habits often take time to show results. That's why you need to make the process itself satisfying. One way to do this is habit tracking. Benjamin Franklin used to carry a booklet to track his 13 personal virtues, marking his progress each day. Seeing those check marks felt good and kept him motivated. You can do the same with a journal, app, or even a simple calendar where you mark an X each time you complete a habit. Watching those X's pile up is surprisingly satisfying and gives you a visual reminder of your progress. Another way to make habits satisfying is to reward yourself. If you finish a workout, treat yourself to a smoothie or an episode of your favorite show. Just make sure the reward doesn't sabotage your goal. No cookies after a gym session. You can also make the habit itself fun. If you want to exercise, pick something you enjoy, like dancing or hiking, instead of forcing yourself to do something you dread. The more enjoyable the process, the more likely you'll stick with it. An accountability partner can also make habits more satisfying. When someone's checking in on you, you're less likely to slack off because you don't want to let them down. In my own life, I've found that sharing my goals with a friend keeps me on track. We check in weekly, celebrate wins, and troubleshoot challenges. It's like having a cheerleader and coach in one. Find someone you trust, set clear expectations, and schedule regular check-ins. Knowing someone's watching can be the push you need to stay consistent. Now, let's talk about taking your habits to the next level, going from good to great. Once a habit becomes routine, it can start to feel boring. That's where deliberate practice comes in. Professionals don't just go through the motions, they actively look for ways to improve. Take musicians, for example. The part of their brain responsible for motor skills is larger because they practice with intention, focusing on the toughest parts of their craft. You can do this too. If you're learning a skill, break it down and work on the areas that challenge you most. Seek feedback, reflect on your progress, and keep tweaking your approach. It's not about being perfect, it's about getting a little better each day. Embracing boredom is another key to mastery. Amateurs only work when they're excited, but professionals show up even when it's dull or tough. That's what separates the good from the great. If you want to excel, commit to consistency, even on the days you don't feel like it. Over time, those small, steady efforts will compound into extraordinary results. So, what's the big takeaway from Atomic Habits? It's that small changes, done consistently, can transform your life. You don't need to overhaul everything overnight. Start with tiny habits, 1 page, 1 glass of water, 1 minute of focus, and make them obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Design your environment to support your goals. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, and track your progress to stay motivated. Most importantly, focus on who you want to become, not just what you want to achieve. Every small action is a vote for the person you're building. As I stand here sharing this with you, I'm inspired to keep refining my own habits, and I hope you are too. Maybe you're thinking about hitting the gym. learning a new skill, or just getting more organized. Whatever it is, start small, stay consistent, and trust the process. The results will come. Thanks so much for watching this summary of Atomic Habits on Summary in 15 minutes. If you found this helpful, give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more book summaries that can change your life in just 15 minutes. Drop a comment below and let me know. What habit are you going to start building today? I can't wait to hear about it. Share this video with a friend who needs a little habit inspiration, and let's keep growing together. Until next time, keep taking those small steps. They'll lead you to big places. See you soon.